The World's Worst Teachers by David Walliams. The fourth story, Miss Conceit, the Human Work of Art. Miss Conceit thought of herself as a work of art, though with her electric blue boots, orange hat, yellow dress, flowing pink scarf, and black and white tights, she looked more like a licorice old sort. She taught art at a school that was the definition of ordinary, humdrum high. The school was colourless, except for one room, the art room. That was an explosion of colour, as Miss Conceit had made it a shrine to herself. Pictures of her adorned the walls. The teacher had humbly added herself into the most famous paintings of all time. Here she was as Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa. There she was as Johannes Vermeer girl with the pearl earring. Frida Kahlo's self-portrait with thorn necklace and hummingbird now had Miss Conceit's face staring back at you. Sandro Botticelli's The Birth of Venus was renamed The Birth of Miss Conceit. One of George O'Keeffe's flowers suddenly had Miss Conceit's face right at the centre of it. She became bowed for Edvard Munch. The Scream, Vincent van Gogh's famous self-portrait with a bandage on his ear, became a portrait of Miss Conceit with a plaster on her ear. Tamara the Olympicus Tamara in a green Bugatti was reimagined as Miss Conceit in a brown Mini. Perhaps most startling of all was Miss Conceit's addition to self-surfing Katsushika's Hokusai's iconic The Great Wave. In the center of the classroom stood a larger-than-life-size sculpture. It was Michelangelo's David, but now it had a face chiseled on it, and was renamed Miss Conceit's Miss Conceit. All that the children were allowed to paint was her. This should make them do over and over again until they finally captured her, as she called it, immense beautifulness. Her poor pupils missed break time and lunch time, had to stay behind for hours after school, and even missed weekends until these artworks of herself met her approval. It was as if she were an Egyptian pharaoh, and they were her slaves, working night and day to immortalize her. One day there's an announcement on the television news of a nationwide children's art contest. Every school in the country was invited to take part in the Children's Art Competition Knockout, or CAC for short. Miss Conceit was in the staff room when she saw the news. She was so thrilled, she spat her coffee all over the headmaster. Mr. Dewar, who was quietly getting on with his crossword, splurted, "Yuck, yes!" exclaimed Miss Conceit. She began skipping around the staff room, da-dee-dum-dee-dum-dee-da. Soon everyone at Humdrum High knew how thrilled she was. She cartwheeled down the corridor. She danced in the dining hall. She pogoed in the playground. She limboed in the library. She high-kicked in the history classroom. She strutted on the science block. She fox-trotted on the football pitch. She cha-cha'd around the climbing frame. She tiptoed through the toilets. Miss Conceit knew this competition could be the making of her. Now she wouldn't just be a legend in her own school, the whole world would know who she was. Miss Conceit would finally be heralded as the greatest art teacher who ever lived. Humdrum High could be demolished and replaced by a giant golden statue of her. The rules of the cat competition were simple. Children from each school had to work together to create a piece of art. It could be a painting or a sculpture or whatever they choose. The winning piece would be displayed in the Gallery of Great and Good Art, or GAGA for short. So on the morning that the competition was announced, Miss Conceit waltzed onto the stage at the Humdrum High Assembly. "Children, it is I, your humble-most art teacher, Miss Conceit," she began. There were groans from some of the kids in the hall. "Oh!" They didn't believe a word of it. She just pretended to be humble, as people often do. Miss Conceit was as humble as a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Others simply yawned. The teacher was such a bum-numbing bore after all. As you may have witnessed on your televisual box this very morning, she continued, a school art contestation has been announced. The children's art competition knockout, or for short CAC. Ha, ha, ha. All the kids were laughing now, though Miss Conceit had no idea why. The prize is not as money or fame, both of which, as you know, I shun. Another groan from the kids. "Ah, for me, the great mentest prize is posterity, a place in GAGA. Ha, ha, ha." Again, Miss Conceit had no idea why that was funny. "Now, I want every single one of you inspirational, magnificent, wondermental children to be a part of this. To make Humdrum High celebrated, mentored on every corner of this planet that we do call Earth." The kids were not happy. This was yet more work for them. "Do we have to? Not fair. She's always making us do extra work. It's all about her. Can't she just disappear up her own bottom? I'd rather eat my own sock." "Wonderment, wonderment," called the teacher, as if they had all been cheering her. "Now I want you, the kids, to shout out and tell me what you do think our school's work of artiment should be." A ripple of excitement passed through the school hall. This seemed like a marvelous opportunity to be naughty. Best of all, if all the kids were naughty, the teachers wouldn't be able to punish them. You can't put the whole school in detention. How about a sculpture of a giant bogie made entirely of snot? Shouted a voice from the back. "Ha, ha, ha." Miss Conceit's face turned sour. "Proper adjustments only, please." "No, no, no," called someone from the middle of the sea of naughtiness. "How about we make a model of the school using only foot cheese? Ha, ha, ha." "That is not in the least bit funnyless." I know, hollered a voice from somewhere, though nobody could be sure exactly. "We should all paint a ginormous bottom burp in different shades of brown." Ha, ha, ha. "You're not taking this seriously. This is art." The art teacher was not in the least bit amused, even if every single person in the hall was. Ha, ha, ha. Even her fellow teachers were chortling away. They found her deeply annoying too. "Settlement down, please," shouted the teacher. Eventually, order was restored. Good. Now, I think we've had quite enough of silly suggestibles. So I, Miss Conceit, your humble-most art teacher, who decidable The work of art will be off. Miss Conceit left a long pause for dramatic effect. Me! No, fix, not again, boo! What a colossal surprise! Shouted the kids. Even the stern-faced Mr. Dewar, who had been soaked in the staff room, added his voice to the chorus of disapproval. What a load of poopy plop-plops, was his verdict, as he mopped the last bits of Miss Conceit's coffee out of his ear. Of course, this is what the art teacher had intended all along, for the artwork to be of her. Fabulosity, that is all settled, then. We will assemblement in the ground of play every break time and every lunch time until it is finished meant. Ah, groaned the children. Humdrum high. Together meant we'll reach for the stars. With that, the teacher performed a little spin. Ring, whir. The bell rang for the first lesson of the day, and all the children began filing out. Unsure of what to do after a little spin, Miss Conceit struck a pose and stood as still as a statue. That was a strange premonition of what was to come. After all the fun and games in assembly, at the first break time, the children were set to work. Miss Conceit directed them all from a little wooden plinth in the centre of the playground. The work of art will be madest out of papier make, announced Miss Conceit. Of course, she said papier in a mock French accent, even though she could have quite easily called it paper. The teacher did the same when pronouncing cul-de-sac, lyser, and even creme. It was just one of the things that made her perhaps the most irritating person on planet Earth. You will all work together meant to produce a giant papier-make sculpture of me, your most beloved art teacher, Miss Conceit. She had assembled everything the children needed. There were paints and brushes, a tall bundle of old newspapers, a roll of chicken wire, and a huge bucket of wallpaper paste. It is simple, men, children. You have made papier-make models thousands of times before. You'll build up the model, and then you will paint it. Now come on, choppity-chop. The children groaned. They're forced to work all through break time and lunch time, and after school until it grew dark. This went on for days, weeks, and months. Miss Conceit rejected all their work. No, no, and no, she'd shout. You have not captured my curiosity again. Needless to say, the children had soon had enough and began hatching a secret plan to deal with the art teacher once and for all. It all began, as most secret plans did, with Alexina. The tall, thin, flame-haired girl was widely regarded as the naughtiest kid at Humdrum High. Miss, began the girl one lunchtime, months after they had begun work on the piece for the cat competition. Yes, now, don't tell me, replied the teacher, as she preened herself. I pride myself on remembering the name of every single child at Humdrum High. Colin? No, replied the girl. Trevor? No. Mohammed? No. It's Alexina. Oh, yes, of course. It's a very similar-ish sounding name to Mohammed. Pray, continue, meant. Thank you, Miss, milked the girl. Well, us kids are thinking. We just can't get this paper statue of you right. We've tried again and again and again and again, added the teacher. That's because we are making the base out of chicken wire. But chicken wire is never going to do justice to your immense mental beautiliousness. Truman, mused Miss Conceit. Most instrument. It would be so much more lifelike if we could use you as the base. Alexina glared at the other children. No one could sneak out, or they would even give the game away. Meanwhile, a look of concern crossed Conceit's face as she pondered this plan. Me? Yes, you, replied the girl. Luckily for the children, the art teacher's vanity got the better of her. That is a splendiferous idea, she cooed, clasping her hands together in anticipation. Let's turn me into a work of art. With obvious delight, the kids all began tearing off more strips of newspaper, rip, before dunking them in the bucket of wallpaper paste. Next day, they eagerly crowded around the art teacher, ready to begin. Wait, called out the teacher. No, hissed Alexina. We've been rumbled. I need to strike meant a pose. The teacher began trying out a number of special poses. First there was the holding your hands together in prayer, a portrait of goodness. Then there was the looking off into the distance, shielding your eyes from the glare of the sun, as if staring into the future. Next, the teacher pretended to think a deep thought, by resting her chin on her hand, but none of these seemed right. Children, what pose do you think best captures my humility? The kids all scratched their heads in thought. I have an idea, exclaimed Alexina. Yes, Colin, Trevor. Muhammad, Dave, that's it, Dave. What could be humbler than a squat? A squat? What a splendiferous idea of mine! With that, the teacher slowly brought herself down to squat. The pose made it look as if she were about to do her dirty business in a hole in the ground. After a few moments, Miss Conceit remarked, Ooh, it's not very comfortable. We'll be quick as we can, replied Alexina, cheering all other children along, and as fast as they could. The kids at humdrum high began splatting the art teacher with strips of newspaper soaked in wallpaper paste. Splat, splot, splat. Oh, 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 cried the teacher each time a new piece of sandpaper hit her. Soon Miss Conceit was covered from head to toe. I want this paper-make statue of me to be gigantful, she announced, her voice somewhat muffled by the gloopy paper, to show that I'm a giant among teachers, and I mean that humbly. Of course you do, replied Alexina. All you want is to be adored for all eternity. Exactly. What could be humbler than that? Come on, gang. Let's get this finished once and for all. Splat, splot, splot. The statue grew bigger and bigger and bigger until it was as tall as the school building itself. The sun was shining that day, which meant that the wallpaper paste, which was really nothing more than watery glue, dried fast. Now make sure the statue captures both my innerment and outerment beauticity. Well, mainly my outerment one, came a muffled voice from somewhere under all this paper make. Now the fun could really start. Using ladders borrowed from the caretaker, the children began painting the statue. When it comes to the face, Alexina ensured the expression was one of the straining, so it looked as if the teacher really were, for want of a more polite expression, laying a chocolate egg. By the time the bell rang for the end of lunch, dring, the artwork was finally finished. How do I look? Came an extremely muffled voice from inside. Beautiful, replied the children in unison. Perfect. I mean, we'll win the contestation. I will be immortalized in Gaga. Now all I need to do is get out of here. Hang on. I'm trapped. No. I'm sorry, miss, replied Alexina. We have lessons to get to. We mustn't be late. Tee-hee-hee, sniggered the kids. Instead of going straight to a lesson, Alexina swung by the headmaster's office. Rat-tat-tat. Just 1 moment, called out Mr. Dewar, quickly hiding his jigsaw puzzle under his desk. Come in. Thank you, sir. You'll be pleased to know the artwork for the cat competition thing is finally finished. At last. This saga has been going on for weeks. Months, sir. Has it really? Well, now it is done. That should shut up Miss Conceit for a while. Very good, child. I'll make sure it is collected at once. Then we can use the playground again. Thank you, sir. Now run along to your lesson. Well, don't run. Just walk purposefully. Very good, sir. As soon as she left the room, Mr. Dewar went straight back to his jigsaw puzzle. What Alexina hadn't told him, of course, was that Miss Conceit was still inside the artwork. All the kids rushed to the windows of their classrooms when they heard a huge truck driving into the playground. Brum, beep, beep, beep. The statue was loaded onto the back of the truck. Thunk, before being driven off. Brum, tee-hee-hee. The children sniggered as it disappeared through the school gates. The kids in Alexina's class were patted her on the back, which made her glow with pride. A week later, the winner of the nationwide art competition was announced on television. The entire school gathered in the hall to watch. The artwork that will be put on permanent display in Gaga is the presenter posed for dramatic effect. Squatting art teacher by the children of Humdrum High. Everyone cheered, hooray! None louder than Alexina. Yes! Even Mr. Dewar did a little skip and a jump. Hooray! There was one voice that remained unusually silent. Miss Conceit's. The teacher had been missing for a number of days now. Then days became weeks, weeks became months, and months became years. What only the children of Humdrum High knew was that their art teacher was encased in her own statue. So, if your school ever takes you on a visit to the Great and Good Art Gallery or Gaga, make sure you put your ear next to the statue of the CAC, award-winning squatting art teacher. But the children of Humdrum High, you might just hear a muffled voice from inside say, help, help, let me out. I can't keep this fidgetish for much longer, meant. Miss Conceit's dream had come true. The teacher was a work of art, a giant pooping one. Thank you for listening to this story. I'll be back with another story shortly. Bye!